Hello, friends. Um, Welcome to your daily forecast with Brett Jenae. Um, it is February 15, the day after Valentine's, but also a day in its own. So it is Friday, and the weather here is overcast. It is supposed to be 70 today. It was a beautiful night last night. Um, Jeremy took me to one of my favorite restaurants in Dallas called Dolce Riviera, and it was very tasty. They make their own pasta there, so the food is just really winning, especially when you love carbs. We had risotto and pasta in the same meal, and also cheese. I love cheese, bread, olives, wine. It was most excellent. Cannolis. We ended the night with cannolis, so it was a pretty good day. Um, and you'll notice my friend behind me here. Um, I asked Jeremy that instead of like maybe all of the gifts or the big things or anything like that, all I really wanted was a stuffed animal. And because I used to get stuffed animals as a kid from my dad, and it was just, I don't know, stuffed animals are cozy to me. And so he had two stuffed animals delivered for me, and this is your show and tell for the day. He had two stuffed animals delivered. One is this goat, so that I can do goat yoga at our house, which is super cute. We've talked about maybe trying to get goats. I don't know if we can get goats in Dallas, but if we can, we may, because, you know, at a time in my life when I was homesteading, my next plan was to get goats, and it never really happened because of circumstances. So this is our very first goat, which I just think is absolutely adorable. And this otter. So I am in love with both of these. And actually, I just touched it and it's got spit on it. Bella just put her mouth around it, which I really am going to have to work really hard to keep them from doing. And I thought that I was doing a really good job. But when you saw her walking behind me, I think that she like just went, ah, just for a second, because there's like a little bit like, I'm so sorry. I would, and I haven't named them yet, so I will let you know when I name them. But it's the very, very best uh, Valentine's ever for me because I have all the stuffed animals. So that just makes me super happy. Um, and yeah, yeah. So here's my otter. The significance of the otter is all of the cute things that go with otters, but mostly Jeremy and I went to California for my birthday um, uh, last year. Um, and he found out how much I love otters when we were there because like Monterey Bay just has otters swimming all over the place. Otters and seals, man, cutest little things ever. And they like hold their little shell and all the things. Like just they're absolutely adorable. And I think they mate for life, which I don't know that that is why he got them. If it is, like that's beyond me. But anyway, so we digress. But these are new. Um, and and I slept with that otter last night, and I may sleep with it forever because it fits like really well, like just right. It it's great. It's really cool. Most of the stuffed animals that I have had in my life, I have uh, bought for myself. I think I had a boyfriend once who got me a stuffed animal because people think they're overrated, and I don't think that they are at all. Yeah, when I was in college, I had a boyfriend who got me, he was a piano player, and he got me a bear for Valentine's and some roses, and I named the bear Sergey because that was his favorite like composer or pianist or something, and I just love the name. So when we broke up, I'm pretty sure I didn't take it out on Sergey, but I also don't know where he's at. So that's a little bit sad. But I have stuffed animals that I've bought for myself. I have a giraffe named Crawford that I still have, and he has moved like in the past, no, I think 5 years. He's moved everywhere that I've gone. And Bella even got a hold of him once and ate his eyes. I know this is really creepy, but like he had like little, little black dots for his eyes, like little buttons. And so she like pulled out both of his eyes. And I was so upset. But I do know how to sew on buttons. And so I sewed him up and I gave him new buttons because she like masticated them. Like they just, I mean, they were not buttons anymore. And I think she might have eaten one, like swallowed it. I only found one. So, my stuffed animals mean a lot to me. We'll just say that. And, these are my favorite Valentine's gift. So good. So I would like to talk just for a moment about the quarters of the moon. I've been saying first quarter and second quarter, and this morning, or maybe even last night, when I looked up at the sky through the rafters with the twinkly lights, I looked at the moon and I realized that first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter is kind of, it's not very descriptive when you talk about the moon, right? So when the new moon happens, or the balsamic moon, the moon goes from the fourth quarter, fourth quarter, like it's not the fourth quarter anymore, is the transition between the fourth quarter and the first quarter. And the first quarter of the moon, the very first day, that transition is dark. We can't see the moon. And so that is so the first quarter is that, like the starting of that. And through the first quarter, as the first quarter moves into the second quarter, we get to like a half moon, right? We get to like that where the moon is going from dark to full. So through the first quarter, we get up right between the first quarter and the second quarter, which happened like yesterday or the day before, we get to that like half level where the moon is half full. And then when we get to the end of the second quarter and it goes into the third quarter, which this is where it gets kind of confusing. The second quarter into the third quarter is the full moon. So it's saying quarters, but this is actually the full moon cycle. And so it's spread up into 4 weeks, divided by 7. Every like 14 days, you get the full moon. And then about 14 days after that, you get the new moon. And so, and you have the quarters, so like broken up in between there. So first, the very beginning of the first quarter is the new moon, when the moon is dark and the sun is lined up, or the moon is lined up with the sun. That's why you can't see the light. And then at the quarter, like between the first quarter and the second quarter, you get the half moon. And then between the second quarter and the third quarter, you get the whole moon. And we call that a hard angle, but it's the moon is full, and you can see all of the moon. And then as you go from the second quarter, or you go from the third quarter, you start going through the third quarter. Between the third quarter and the fourth quarter, you get another half moon, but on the other side, right? So between the first quarter and the second quarter, and between the third quarter and the fourth quarter, look very similar to us. In fact, we could look up at the sky and say, if we didn't know where the moon had been, or if the full moon or the new moon had been just recently, we wouldn't know where we were in the moon cycle, because it looks very similar, because it's the half moon, because we go from new to full, which is called waxing. So that's when you continue to see more of the moon up until the full moon. And then from the full moon to the new moon, we call waning, W-A-N-I-N-G. So waxing, W-A-X-I-N-G, waning, W-A-N-I-N-G. And it's waning is from the full moon as it gets back to new. And we see less and less and less and less of the moon. So when I say, like when I said what day was it? When we went from the first into the second quarter, on Tuesday, the moon was at half full. And now we're above half, because it's been a couple more days. Actually, this is really exciting. Tuesday is the full moon. And we get to talk about the full moon on Tuesday. I'm pretty excited about that. So in a couple of days, in not so many days, 1, 2, 3, 4 days, the full moon will be at 10:54 a.m. And we talked about how the full moon and the new moon can actually happen, like the height of those, the peak of those can be during the day. And we don't get to see that, but we can still honor it at the time or around the time of the full moon. If you prefer, or if the way that your life is laid out, it's much easier for you to do full moon rites and things at nighttime, right? If you work during the day, you get to honor the full moon around the full moon. So within the first 3 days after the full moon. And like I said, we'll talk more about that. But just saying, the moon is waxing. We're able to see more and more and more and more of it every night. And so as the second quarter progresses, we will continue to see more until Tuesday, when the moon is full. And so I wanted to explain that to you guys just a little bit, because I realized I was using quarters and I hadn't explained that to you. So we are still in the second quarter. This morning, when I woke up, we were still in Gemini, but at about 9 o'clock this morning, we moved into Cancer. And Cancer is actually my sun sign. So many times when you go to look at your horoscope, you will go by when your birthday is. And my birthday is on June 25th. And so my sun sign is Cancer, because that's the days that Cancer goes. Cancer starts on like June 22, I think, and then goes until around July 22 or something like that. Those are the dates of Cancer. And so my sun sign is Cancer. So the emotions that come with Cancer are very inherent to me, and being in Cancer is a pretty comfortable place. It's nice after Gemini to have a break from the slightly distraught energies of Gemini for me. That being said, full-on Cancer for me can be, or like the emotions of Cancer can be very isolating, because Cancer is a crab, and at the extremes of Cancer, you go into your shell and you can just stay there. And that's what I feel like doing today. After Gemini, I feel like just crawling into my shell and disappearing for a couple of days, or like a day. And it is just like, it sounds so good. And I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I feel like there's definitely a balance there where you honor you definitely honor your desires. You figure out where your boundaries are and you say, I really need this. Like if I need to disappear for a minute, I get to do that. But I also know that the Cancer energy is has a lot of good to it. And if I wanted to express my Cancer in different ways, I get to do that too. So, if you are not a Cancer-y person, or if you haven't looked up Cancer, go ahead and do that. It's a very cozy sign to me, like I said, but it's just because it's very obvious. I haven't looked at a Cancer zodiac inventory in a long time, and I looked at it today and I was like, good heavens, if I'm not a Cancer. Like it was like, likes to cook and make food and be home, loves to host people, like is a nurturer, loves caring for pets and family, like really just wants happiness and security and what was something else that it said? Oh yeah, it loves like divine meals, like always wants to try, the best foods and eat the best foods all the time. And so I was just like, oh gosh, as I get in tune with the moon and the more I listen to my intuition, which is a very Cancer thing. Cancer is ruled by the moon. The moon, like the planet that rules Cancer, is the moon. And so that sort of emotional, my tides are ruled by the moon, as you've probably noticed by these videos. And that's a very Cancer thing. So, yeah, as I look at Cancer, and I get myself in tune with the moon and in tune with my intuition, I find that I am becoming more and more of the things that make sense to me. And I hope that for you today. I hope that as on this journey that we are on, which is basically to find ourselves, right? To become the things that we originally were in the beginning, and that we have unbecome because it was most convenient for us to be able to live the way the world has told us that we should live. I hope for you today that your path to becoming that which is you, that you always have been, is continuous and joy-filled and fulfilling today. That's what I hope for you. This past weekend in yoga training, we talked about the things that make us us, and that our human bodies aren't really a part of that. That our souls are a gathering and smattering of moments and memory and lives, and the person that we were when we were 6 is the same person that we are now. Like our bodies look different, but we are that same person. And that's insane to me. Because we always talk about, oh, I've grown so much, and we're always striving to like be better and do better. And I think that's great. Like I think that we need to strive to be better and do better and to become what we were meant to be, like what we were born to be. I definitely believe in that. But striving for something different than we are is different than that. Like if we are striving to be something that we are not, that is better than what we are, that's where we get into troubles. And so Yeah. So I hope that for us today, definitely, that we can, um, that we become that which we are, which sounds kind of simple. You would think if I am me, then maybe I should be able to, that would be easy to connect to. But the world makes it very difficult. And I dare say our past lives and the wounds that we've had, and even in this life, if you don't believe in past lives, the wounds in this life keep us from being the people that we were meant to be originally. Um, our wounds definitely make us who we are. I believe that. But they also allow us to give in to fear and create those barriers that we talked about yesterday. And we do have to actively inject love into our lives and our energies and our hearts and focus on that so that we can, um, so that we don't become paralyzed and not live the lives we were meant to live. So, Cancer. Cancer, I told you, is a crab. It is a water sign. It's the very first water sign. And as such, it is the words I found were the fluid emotional river of creation. Whoa. I love those words. But it's like it is a it's definitely, it refers to the water, right? It refers to emotion and it refers to creation. And that river is something that flows within all of us, even if you're not a Cancer. The part of you that is and celebrates a Cancer, like we all have that fluid emotional river. But in Cancers, it's a bigger part of our lives. And so to see those words together just kind of sparked a smile on my face. Also, a little bit of fear. Inject love into the fear. When I hear fluid emotional river, I go, I know, right? Because I have almost drowned in that river before. I think I've meant to do that to myself at a point in my life. And so it seems that it could be a very overwhelming place, but it's not. It's not. It's fear and the word should, that proposes that we drown in our fluid emotional river. A fluid emotional river is actually a very gorgeous thing. And I hope that we can connect to that today in a way that is grateful and appreciative and passionate and like eternal, because it's a river that always has water flowing. It never gets dry, and it is the part of us that is always us. That part of us when we were 6. Like that fluid emotional river is one of our truths, and so connecting to that is a big deal. We already talked about the fact that Cancer is ruled by the moon, and it's said that Cancers are leaders and idea people. I definitely have a lot of ideas. Part of that is due to the fact that Cancer is a cardinal sign, so it's very like directional, and as far as ideas are concerned, they can definitely lead a charge. So that's an interesting thing about Cancer. So we're in the second quarter. We just entered Cancer. Cancer is homey and nurturing and feminine and emotional and creative and loving and hearthful. Like like your house hearth, that kind of home center is a very Cancer thing. Um, the color for today is rose, and I kind of love that the color for today is rose, because the color for yesterday in American society is red, right? Red or pink, like hot pink. And but the color for yesterday spiritually was green. But today we have this like almost, or at least I do anyway, kind of a remembrance or like a deja vu sort of situation about the red that we've been seeing. And I love that as the red kind of subsides in our like American society, you'll probably notice there's probably was like St. Patty's Day stuff out before Valentine's. But as the red fades out into something that is more accepting and neutral, which I see that as like white. We talked about white the other day. White not expecting anything from us and also being very healing. As that red goes to white, what do we get? Pink. And so for the color to be rose today is very meaningful to me. And it's very a rose, that rose pink is a very light color, and it's a very flowing pastel spring sort of color. But if you've got a crystal and you put rose, like if you put light through a rose, like a rose crystal, it's very, I mean, you can see the light, right? It's not absorbent of light. It's very reflective. And I like that, reflective. And I mean, if we talk about figures of speech and things, looking at the world through rose tinted glasses, that exists too today. So that's a way that we can connect to the color of today. Not only releasing ourselves of the expectations and the high energy of Valentine's, which even if you don't believe in Valentine's, it still affects us because we are inundated with Valentine's, like red and chocolates and commercials and marketing and, you know, love and friends. And like, I was one of those people that had plans last night. Some people choose not to have plans because of those things. And it is all because of those things that we are really very affected by those celebratory days. And so now we're in a rose-colored day where the expectations are slowly melting away to tonight, perhaps, when you go to a place by yourself and you take your white candle and you light it and you allow yourself to reset because the red has gone entirely to white, and heal from the high energy that is Valentine's. And I'm not saying Valentine's is a bad thing. I'm just saying it does very much affect our energies. And so anything that affects our energies and causes that sort of a high return, I believe, needs a reset. So during that time and during the day today, perhaps we can, you know, also look at the world through our rose tinted glasses. Even if I don't have rose tinted glasses, but you know, if you're looking at the world and it seems a little bit like a little bit maybe not so great today, we can like put on our pretend rose colored glasses and look through those too, and kind of enjoy, because we can enjoy the rose color even as we know that the color is a lovely melting away of high emotional energies. So, lastly, today is a planting day. And you will notice that after the full moon, we will have more harvesting days. That's just kind of the way that the month works a little bit. As we are in a waxing moon, where we're seeing more and more of the moon every day, the energy is very investment oriented. And then after the full moon, the energy is a bit more like enjoyment based, I would say, like that we put in the work. Now, any moment that you need to just look at your basket that is so full and maybe stop planting, that ain't nobody says that that is a problem. So even though today is a planting day, if you feel like your day needs to be a little bit more chill and maybe not so much planting, feel free to take that for yourself, because that's the moon in you too. That's that emotional, sorry, T is talking to the squirrels outside. That is your emotional moon telling you that you need a minute. And that is more important than what's on any calendar. But the calendar can inspire us to make even one small action to do good things in our lives and to plant good things in our lives. So, I hope you enjoyed the synopsis of Cancer from a Cancer. I don't know all the things about Cancer. I know that being a Cancer makes me desire more and more to be surrounded by family and my home and the things that I love, including my friends and my pets and cozy and hygge are right up my alley. And so those are the things that I hunger for. Well, in food, literally hungry. And I hope that for you today. If you take your Cancer energy and allow yourself to feel home, and to allow yourself to feel the nurturing energy of Cancer. One of the ways that I connected to my water sign was to go swimming in a pool and connected to the moon as well. So that could be helpful. Also, really watching this video and connecting to the moon is connecting to Cancer. Because as I said, like, Cancer is ruled by the moon. So the more that you get in tune with the moon, the more you get in tune with your Cancer just because you do. And so I thank you for watching this video. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to get in tune with the moon. I love that we get to have these conversations. If you have any questions, let me know. Any questions that you want answered. And I will look them up for you and I will figure it out. If you need help figuring out what your sun sign is, or if you want to start looking into your astrological chart, let me know that, because I would be more than happy to go through what I know about those things with you and to learn more with you on our journeys towards being more connected to ourselves, our intuition, and the soul that is constant from that little 6-year-old that we were once, and the 90-year-old that we will be, that is the same exact soul and the same exact being. And I just love that. So have a great day. Happy Friday to those of you whose Friday is actually a Friday today. I hope you have a great day. All the love to you guys, and I'll see you next time.